My name is Vito Labella. I am the Krista McAuliffe Intermediate School PTO President. Welcome to our November General Meeting. Welcome, welcome. I'd like to also welcome our entire Executive Board. We have Madeline, our Treasurer, Jason, our Recording Secretary, Yaman, our Assistant Treasurer, and Kim Jalay, our Vice President of Fundraising. Welcome all. Thank you. We have an agenda. Now I'm going to try to do some stuff. I know there's interest in different languages, and unfortunately there's a lot of interest citywide, so it's just impossible for me to get someone here. I understand where Zoom is working on the technology that they would have automatic translations in whatever language you choose while we have this meeting. Hopefully before the end of the school year, that will be up and running. And we would be able to reach out to everybody in every language in our community. That's the goal. If I could do it by magic and snap my fingers, I certainly would, because our job is to get the information out to you. There's a transcript there that you can perhaps copy and paste into a Google Translate kind of thing. Also, this meeting will be archived with the minutes and the agenda, and I'm going to attempt to share my screen in both Chinese and English. And again, I just need all of my co-hosts to mute people as they come in, because sometimes it defaults to them. All right, so let me get started by, we're going to introduce our minutes from last year. Let me post the agenda. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to approve the October minutes. Leave this up here in English, and I'm going to request a motion to waive reading, and I'll just scroll down and give people an opportunity to read them. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any objection? Good. Okay. Yeah.
Perhaps for next month's meeting, we could get a parent that could translate the minutes.
So it would be wonderful. Yeah, it would be wonderful if we had we used to have parents and staff that were able to come to our meetings and do translations. The individuals who were doing that, they graduated out or can't do it anymore. So that's why we're kind of shorthanded as far as the translations go. So we certainly need parent involvement. We'll talk about that briefly as well. But did everyone get a chance to read these minutes? Would anybody like more time? Again, this will be available, and I think we'll send out these minutes when they're approved, just so everybody has a copy of them, as well as the other documents that we are going to discuss tonight. So that was an abject failure on my part. I'm going to give you now to our treasurer, Madeline, and she's going to try to share her screen, and I hope you have more luck, Madeline, than I did.
Let's hope.
All right, there you go.
Let's see. Oh, I think I did it.
Yay! You show off, you.
Okay. Okay, so we have our monthly treasuries report for November, and it's translated in Spanish and Chinese at this point. So we began the month with $49,320.88. We brought in $46,868 in membership dues. Thank you very much, parents. Of course, please, our membership link is still open. Please continue to give. We appreciate every penny that you can give us. We also raised $1,435.75 due to our snack shack. Thank you very much, Kim Jalay, for spearheading that and manning it and dealing with that. So our total income for this period was $48,303.75. Okay, I'm now gonna go to our expenses. Just give me 1 second to scroll through, okay? We did have a lot of expenses this month. We had about $13,363.19. Some of that money was to purchase the items for the snack shack. We had the signature project, which was a wonderful assembly that we had. Systematic achievements, which were the amazing writing booklets that were distributed to the 6th and 7th graders, as well as some 8th graders who misplaced their writing booklets, and some deposits for other assemblies that are coming up. So all in all, our fund balance is $84,261.44.
Thank you so much. Anybody have any questions on that? You could throw it in the chat. All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Madeline. Did a heck of a job there. You can take over anytime. Okay, so now I want to explain. Madeline mentioned that we had the signature project, the signature assembly, which is really great. Coming up, we have another assembly that it's a off Broadway show that the 8th graders had gone to for many years, but of course this year there are no field trips outside of the school. So one of our teachers suggested that this company could actually come to the school. So they do a story time, and they're going to bring all their equipment, and it's going to be like an off-Broadway show coming to Krista McAuliffe. So we have that show the Monday and Tuesday prior to Thanksgiving. We're really excited. And also one of our acting APs, she's spearheading a program called the Parent Academy, which will allow the PTO and the school to work together to try to engage parents and give parents more input to what's going on in the school, more participation, and to really try to build a sense of community among all of the participants in the IS 187 community. So we're going to have the staff and the teachers and the parents and the children all working together on these fun different things. We had the first meeting today. We're going to be looking for parent volunteers to come join us. We're looking for parent volunteers to help spearhead things. And so we'll be sending things out on a regular basis, but that's certainly something that we could look forward to. And I think a really productive way to spend our funds that you have so generously donated. And like Madeline said, the fundraising is open till the end of the year. If you, even before, excuse me, yeah, even after that, you will be getting a letter from us for the IRS, because we are a nonprofit, and anything that you contribute is tax deductible as allowed by law. And then you should be receiving that definitely by the end of the year. So with that, Kim, did you have any updates on any of the other fundraising or membership stuff that you do?
Well, sure. You stole my thunder about the green envelopes, but yes, we're if your children are asking you to send in money in the green envelopes, it's because if their class has 80% participation, they get a pizza party, and they're really excited about that. And 100% participation, they also get ice cream. So, there might be a couple students holding them back from that. So if your child is asking you, just think about whatever you can donate. We do, we suggest a donation is $187, but whatever donation you can make is greatly appreciated. But we do have other, and this is a new thing for us this year, doing the snack shack. And your kids are hungry, I have to tell you. And they are there and they're waiting to purchase chips and ice cream, but what we need are parents. And we do have a few wonderful parents that have donated their time. It's from approximately 10:25 until 12:40. We only sell it during the lunch periods, and we are maintaining social distancing for the kids as they're lining up. And trust me, they're lining up for the snacks. But we need parents to help us sell, and we don't expect one parent to come in 5 days a week. So I'm gonna ask Vito to just type my email into the chat right now. And if you are available to come in, even if it's not every week, if I can come in one day a month, that's helpful to us, because it gives the other parents a break. And this money that we raise, you say, wow, you raised a lot of money with it. What are you going to do? Well, there's a lot of things that the school can't pay for in air conditioning, which seems ridiculous right about now. But in May and June, when your kids are sitting in those rooms, they're going to need those air conditioners repaired. And that's things that by you coming in and volunteering, you're helping keep your kids comfortable in the school environment. And we're going to be sending you more information over the next few months, but we are hoping, as things are getting better with COVID, to have our big gala. Again, we've been holding it historically the last couple of years at the Diker Heights Golf Course. It's a great night with a lot of wonderful gifts. We have parents that donate. We have the classes put baskets together. We're hoping to have a great night, and that's another event where we're looking for volunteers. So if you're able to help out, with the snack shack, but if that's not something you can do during the day, but yes, I can help plan this big fundraiser, which will be in April or May. Please just send me an email so I can keep you informed as to what we're doing and see where you can fit in. Because even if you've only got a couple of hours, that could mean a lot to us. So thank you very much. And we will be updating you as we have new fundraisers. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Any questions about any of that? You could put it in the chat or no? Wonderful. So the next couple of items, the next item in particular is something that was a question on Facebook. It had made the news, and it's this DESA assessment. I'm going to talk about it very briefly. It is a, we copy that. Do you see the DESA assessment in front of us? Somebody, yes or no?
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you. So this assessment is something that the DOE is putting out there, and they are asking teachers to fill it out for each of their children in their class. Here are some of the questions. It's very difficult, to be honest, to try when people ask you, well, what should I do about this, or what do you think about that? It's really difficult to not do a knee-jerk reaction one way or the other. If you really want to take time to make an informed decision, there's a lot of work that goes into that. So I did speak to a number of professionals, and I did speak to parents and other individuals, and all I can say is what I heard and the decision that I'm making for my child, and let you know what options you have for your child, so you can make an informed decision based upon everything that you hear. Everything that you hear, everything you read, no one can make the decision for you. It's you as a parent. You have to decide. It's not always easy to know the right thing to do. So I'm just sharing my thought processes. And this is my thought processes, both as your PTO president and also as a parent-elected CEC member, because the CEC took this up and the CEC issued a resolution, and I'm going to share both of those things with you over the next few minutes. So if you look at these questions, these are some of the questions that are on this DESA. And what struck me is some of these questions, and the teacher's supposed to look at them, and the teachers have seen our kid now for a couple of months, 45 minutes a day. The third period teacher, I believe, fills it out. And to me, that some of these questions, I don't see how a teacher could make an informed choice in the limited amount of time that they've known our children. Of course, ideally, it's the children that are struggling, that need the most help, that will jump out. So for example, if I always use my poor daughter, Morgan, she tells me, don't rat her out, don't use her name, but I'm sorry, Morgan, that's just your fate. So Morgan's in school, and it says Morgan, let's see, learns from her experience, and it's never. Shows good judgment, and it's never. Handles his or her belongings with care, and it's never or rarely. And she's getting all of these negative, she's doing all these negative behaviors, right? I trust our great teachers not to need this DESA assessment and not to wait for a checklist to pick up a phone or write an email to contact Kim and I to discuss what's going on. That's what I expect would happen in our school, and that's what I expect most of the teachers in the DOE would do without needing this checklist. So the question then becomes, what happens, and this is the question in my mind, and this is just my thought process. Again, everyone has to make their own decision. What happens to all of this information? I mean, this is a snapshot of my daughter, and let's say that my daughter's struggling with some of these issues. Why do I want that information going to a third-party vendor, getting sent to the DOE to be stored we don't know where, for how long we don't know? It just, to me, that there's too much uncertainty involved. And because of that, Kim and I decided that we would opt out of the DESA assessment. If you would like to opt out of the DESA assessment, all you have to do is type an email to Carla Palumbo 4 at schools.newyorkcity.gov. Tell her that my child such and such doesn't want to do the assessment, and she won't have the assessment done. Again, that's all up to you. It's your decision. The CEC had 3 questions that we put forth that we had issues with. I'm trying to find that, and I'll share that with you as well. Let's see. The problem with screen sharing is I can't pop up on I have to stop one screen share and then start another, I believe. So that should have come up now. Did it? It's a new screen?
Yes.
Yes. So the CEC had 3 asks concerning the DESA, and it's up here now. And we just asked that the DOE disclose immediately the full roster of questions. They disclose the questions for any future screeners in a timely fashion, which we thought 3 months in advance, and to have them posted so that the parents knew. We clarified that any parent wishing to opt out just has to send an email, and Mr. Berman sent out at least 2 emails telling parents they could opt out, and now I'm telling you. Make the full results of the DESA available to parents and indicate who has access to these results and where the results are stored. Allow parents to remove the screener from their child's record at any time, and reduce the number of questions on future screeners, enabling teachers to provide more thoughtful and relevant answers. These are just, some of this is just common sense kind of things. I think that when we talk about these kinds of the necessity for these kind of assessments, it's certainly there. Our kids, like all middle school kids, especially kids that are studying for the SHSAT and have these pressures of COVID, they're under some stress. I just don't think that a checklist is really the best way to go about ascertaining the amount of stress and the best things to do about that stress. The best things would be to keep it within the school community, between the teacher, the parent, the guidance counselor, and whatever other support that's available. And there's a lot of support that's available. And this is something that all of us, as individual parents, as individual citizens, as co-workers, we should all kind of know our friends and our families and our co-workers, and be cognizant of any changes that might indicate that they're going through a hard time. And I expect that our teachers would get trained in this on a regular basis, and I'm sure they do. They say police officers wear many hats. You know, you're a social worker, you do domestic violence, you go after the bad guy. It's the same with our teachers. Our teachers are asked to do a whole bunch of different things, and they need the training and the support, because like anything else, the more you do it, the better you are at it. And so, you know, to tell our teachers what are the signs of a child in distress, and make sure these teachers are getting trained in this on a regular basis and reminded of it, because we're all human beings. We kind of focus we stay in our routine, we focus on, we have tunnel vision. And so we all need to be reminded, oh yeah, I remember that. We do that, we have to look for this, we have to look for that. Because our kids are kids that they're great kids, they're smart kids, but they are under stressors. And there are many things that we can do. And I'm going to dovetail into an assembly that we're going to have for our 6th and 7th graders, because our 8th graders saw it when they were 6th graders. Mr. Halligan, whose son, unfortunately, was a middle schooler who committed suicide. And he talks to our teachers, he talks to our students in an assembly, and he also does a PTA presentation at one of our meetings. And he talks about, I mean, the kids they have rapt attention to this presentation. When he's speaking, you could hear a pin drop in that auditorium. He's very, very effective. And when he speaks to the parents and he talks about the signs and the things we can do, and Mr. Berman had sent out something about Discord, which is a social media platform. And what Mr. Halligan does is say, listen, here are some of the things we can use, because social media is a big thing driving some of these things that put extra stress on our children. And so he's going to talk about that, and we're hoping to do that sometime in January, but I did want to tease it right now because I think it does go very well with the desks and the assessments, and to just let our community know that we are cognizant of what's going on, and we do have supports in place, and we're always working to bring better things, more effective things for all of our parents and all of our children's needs and all of our staff's needs as well. So I'm gonna end that. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. And again, if there's any questions, please put it in the chat. And you could ask questions of Mr. Berman or myself later. So the next two things I'm going to talk about are kind of related, and it is the announcement by the DOE that they've ended the G&T program as it formerly existed, and their presentation of the brilliant New York City program. There was an engagement last week. You could sign up for it. A lot of people got shut out, and they're supposed to do another engagement. This is a CEC thing. I was not happy with the answers that I heard at the meeting. And you know what? It may not matter, because come January 3rd, Monday, January 3rd, new sheriff's in town, and things can change. And how do I know things can change? Well, because my head is spinning from some of the changes and potential changes that have happened over the last few days. And this relates mostly to our high school applicants, our 8th graders. Last year, and this is going to be another long-winded discussion, but just bear with me. Last year, the city announced that they were removing the geographic walls for all high schools starting this year. That means that any child in any part of the city could apply to any high school and have an equal chance of getting into that high school based upon, we don't know, right? Could be a lottery, could be anything. If there are more kids who want it than anything else, and it's not a screen school that has grades and test scores, essays or whatever, there's some way to populate these schools when there are more applicants than seats, but they didn't go into that. And we of course have screen high schools that they have their own metrics, and some of those metrics are in flux as well. So the city decided that they're doing away with the geographic screens. I was asked to comment as a CEC member because we now no longer have preference for Fort Hamilton or New Utrecht or Bay Ridge Technical High School, Bay Ridge Telecommunications. What I'd said was, 3 years ago, I stood at a protest meeting demanding that the city get rid of these geographic preferences, because what the city had done is they expanded Discovery to 20%. And historically, we have, say, 300 kids in the 8th grade. Historically, we were sending 275 or so to these specialized high schools. Take away 20%, because 187 is not eligible to participate in Discovery. And lo and behold, that's 54 children who now have to find a school to go to. There are many, many really good comparable programs to a specialized high school in Manhattan. And we in District 20 were shut out of them. Off the top of my head, I can list Baruch, I could list Bard, I could list Lower Lab, Millennium Manhattan, the iSchool, Clinton. I mean, there's a whole bunch of really top-notch schools that are very, very popular. Eleanor Roosevelt on the Upper East Side, probably one of the best high schools in the city. And so I felt that it was a net gain for us to be able to send our children to apply to these schools, even though it meant that we had an equal chance of going to New Utrecht or Fort Hamilton or in any of the other schools locally. And that's just, my opinion. Again, I'm open to hear everyone else's feedback on that, but it's not just 187 that sent a ton of kids to the specialized high schools. District 20, all of South Brooklyn sent a ton of kids. And now all of those kids now who were having trouble getting in because of the 20% discovery program now had, I thought, a greater opportunity to go to a very, very good school outside of our district, outside of the zone, quote unquote. So that was my thinking. If anybody has questions about that or want to give feedback about that, that's great. But hold the phone, because when the mayor was asked 2 days ago about this thing that he said that was going to happen, it's on the DOE's website, that they're getting rid of geographic screens. He says, well, we're still thinking about that. No decision has been made. I don't know what to tell you. This was 2 days ago. He's backtracking on that. He says no decision has been made about middle school screens, which means our school, 187, these current fifth graders don't know if they're going to be a lottery, don't know if it's going to be some other metric. I can tell you the CEC is looking into what metrics we want to recommend, but we don't know where it's going to go. And I have to tell you honestly, we are really ignoring the present administration. We are ignoring the present hierarchy of the Department of Education, because they're all lame ducks. They're not going to be here in a few weeks. So we're advocating for all of these different things to the new mayor, the mayor-elect Eric Adams. Hopefully he'll get some people in there who understand the benefit of expanding programs, making more Kristen McAuliffes, making more high schools like Stuyvesant and Brooklyn Tech and Staten Island Tech, and really expanding things instead of trying to destroy them. So that's our hope. And I'm working on that as a CEC member, as a citizen in Place, New York City, and whenever I can do as a PTO president here. And when I was elected, I asked for permission of the people who were electing me to use my judgment to put out position papers and put our name out there for any kind of advocacy concerning the expansion of G&T, concerning our school and the screens that we use. And everyone gave me that carte blanche. And I can't tell you what we're working on, but we're working on something. So you may see our logo somewhere. And that's because I was given permission when I ran and was elected. Does anybody have any questions on any of that? It's a big mouthful. I'm sure you'll have questions for Mr. Berman, and maybe he has better information than I do. I certainly hope he does, but I kind of doubt it, because there's just not a lot of information out there. But does anybody have any questions about anything that I spoke about in the chat? Yes, he's the worst. The question is, can we put those New York City high schools on the application? So I don't know. I had my daughters, the application is open. So if you go into the My Schools and you can list them, I listed those schools on Morgan's application, but it says on the top now, we are assessing the current requirements for the school, and it may change. So they have to come up with something before they close the list. So I'm expecting it any day, but then who knows what's going to happen if it all changes January 3rd. What does screen mean? Screen is a way for either middle schools or high schools to choose children to populate in their program. They're all different types of screens. An academic screen might use grades and state test scores and essays and interviews. An artistic screen, such as LaGuardia, might use a dance audition, an acting audition, a singing audition. There are other screens besides LaGuardia that also require an audition. I believe Frank Sinatra, there was just an email I saw on that. And there's was PPE, someone help me out. There's another really good one that if your child is a performer and wants to pursue this, they can do that, and that would be a screen. That would be an artistic screen or an academic screen. DOS gifted program recently canceled. Yes, yeah, they canceled it. They said they canceled it, but we are now in the process of advocating for the revision of that policy, the rescinding of that policy, I should say, with the new mayor. Regarding DESA, do we get confirmation that the opt-out was received and processed? Let's save that for Mr. Berman. Mr. Berman, you can answer that in the chat if you like. I don't believe, just the other schools too, that will have kept their screens all, there are other schools too that have kept their screens all along. Mr. Berman is referring to probably Hunter. Hunter last year had a screen. Hunter, is there a 7th grade test this year for Hunter? I'm wondering. 6th grade test, right? Did our 6th graders, were they invited to test at Hunter? I believe so. So yeah, so that's kind of under the radar. Do we know when the high school applications are due? I know the SHSAT was on Monday, so I'm sure everyone got theirs in. I don't know when they're going to close the application process. So some of these questions I think would be best suited to the school staff, Mr. Berman. And so I'm going to let him, if there's no questions on me or any of my advocacy. So that's what I'm really concerned about. If you still trust me to advocate for our school and our parents, I really appreciate it. If I don't see any objection, we can assume that you're giving me a thumbs up. The latest information is more information is coming soon. I love it. Okay, so.
Vito, can I just ask a quick question? This is Manel Zoabi. How are you?
Manel, welcome.
Thank you so much. This might be a question that is more suited for administration, but it's something that's been on my mind since my son started the 6th grade. I'm not sure if other 6th grade parents are feeling the same way. So I put McCullough as our first choice for our son, knowing what an incredible school it is. And he luckily got into that first choice. But I also put it down knowing that my son could keep up with the rigor. Speaking to parents in the neighborhood, I am a school psychologist in District 20. I'm very aware of the rigor that McCullough provides, and I felt my son would be able to keep up with it. Luckily, he has been these 3 months. He's enjoying it. Things are going well. But I have talked to other parents who are older that they have older students. I shouldn't say that the parents are older, my apologies. But the students are older, so 7th and 8th graders and previous. And so they were saying that they're not sure if the school is going to maintain its academic rigor, and now that it's a lottery. So I was kind of put off by those types of comments, to be honest, if I have to be honest, because I felt like it kind of undermines the 6th graders and their potential. And I come from a place where, as a psychologist, as an educator, as a person who's worked with students and children for the last 15 years, I find that given the right environment, almost any student can thrive. And so I just kind of wanted to put that out there, that it is something for the 6th grade families to know that that rigor will still be maintained. I mean, I do see it in a lot of the subjects, but I just kind of, I'm waiting for just a confirmation of that, if I may.
Manal, it seems like there's a lot of stuff to unpack in there. Questions about a lot of stuff to unpack. And I have to answer as a CEC member, as a parent, and an individual parent, and as the president of this PTO. So yeah, I am a supporter of schools like Krista. I know 1,200 kids in District 20, and these are old numbers, score both a 4 or better on their state test and have a 90 or better on their 4th grade grades. We can only take 300. I, as a CEC member, I believe that there should be a total of four Krista McAuliffes, so that every one of those children have a seat in a program that's arguably the same, with the same kind of rigorous curriculum as Krista McAuliffe has. The question going forward about if there's going to be more of a lottery, I hope not. I hope we're fighting to keep Krista as a screen school, to give seats to the top students in this district. And they say, you know, Manal, you've heard this. We hear this again and again. All children are gifted. All children are gifted, and that's kind of like a red herring. Of course, all children are loved. All children are gifted. All children are special. But what we're talking about with a school like Krista, we're talking about children who have been doing advanced work, highly structured work, a lot of times since kindergarten. And I believe that we have to help every single student self-actualize. But I also believe that you shouldn't hold any student back because you don't like the gap between some students and other students. Every student, every single student in this city, in this country, in this world deserves all the support that they can get to be the best that they could be. And that's my feeling. If I was running for governor, that would be my platform. We want to help everybody. We want to help everybody in every way we can, but we don't want to take away from anyone. As far as it relates to our current 6th graders, you can ask that. That's an SLT kind of question, and I know you're interested in that as well. So as far as how our 6th graders are doing compared to 6th graders in the past, that's an interesting question, and that's certainly a valid question to ask. Certainly, I know and I hope every single student feels welcome in this school, and anybody who has any problems, anybody who needs anything, whether it's a student, whether it's a parent, they should contact me, Mr. Berman, any of the APs, we have a new guidance counselor, anybody, if anybody has any issues, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, then I'm sure we will go out of our way to give them the support and the structure that they need to do the best that they can. And that was a little pontificating, but it's from the heart, and you probably could get a different answer, a better answer from Mr. Berman down the road. But Manal, did that answer some of your question?
I guess I'm not looking for an answer that can be more of, and this is with all due respect, an opinion. I really wanted the data behind it. It's more just, are the students in 6th grade this year performing similarly or less so? What are the teachers feeling? Because I do think, coming from the perspective of the administration and the teachers and knowing what they know about past students, how different is it? Because I would think that hopefully parents would be applying to schools that they think are the right fit for their child, similar to what we did in our family. And I'm just hoping that that was sort of the lens that a lot of these parents applied to schools for.
I know, and I asked specifically this question to the borough, and the answer is no. People had every right to apply to the school, and everybody did, and it was a strict lottery. And you know, if they got in, great, and we're going to help every kid in this school be the best they could be. Now, if you're asking specifically about how this 6th grade compared to previous 6th grade, that is a legitimate question. That's an SLT question. And, you know, the data is, I don't know, I think the data is a little premature as far as feelings about that. I'm not sure if feelings are the appropriate way to go, but I'm going to pass this one off to the school administration. Manal, you're absolutely right. I'm going to do that. But I do know that everybody applied, and the lottery was the lottery, and we welcome everyone. So, Mr. Berman, with that hot potato, I'm going to pass it on to you.
Hi, Good evening, everyone. I love hot potatoes. I had a great one for dinner tonight with some great honey that my wife picked up. But no, really, I'm happy to answer any questions, even the challenging ones, and just maybe to sort of pick up where you left off, and then perhaps maybe work backwards and then go forwards again. I'm here to serve you parents, and I'm happy to be here with you and for you. And I'm happy that you're here with us this evening. We've got 92 parents and participants, so that's just great. So I think it's hard enough to compare one grade of students to another. And I think it's really nearly impossible and probably not very worthwhile to compare what's going on this year in person instruction in our school building with last year with the remote nature of much of the instruction and the disrupted nature of a lot of the instruction that the students received last year. And as far as years before that, I think, again, it's very hard to compare one group of students to another. The data that's out there about our students, I have to say, is just one factor, one facet of what makes our school what it is. The fact that teachers challenge the students isn't the defining thing or characteristic that makes Krista McAuliffe. I wish there was just one thing or a handful of things that I could put my finger on and say, hey, this is what makes our school great, because then it would be easy to duplicate and we would have lots of Krista McAuliffe schools all around the city. What we do here, we do for all students, whether they come here through a screen or whether they come here because they live nearby or because they're a student with disabilities and we have special programs for them. What we do for all students. The professional development that we do, while it can be specified by subject, is given to all teachers where it's appropriate. For example, all of the social emotional learning and professional development and work we've done, all of the work with our theory of action to focus this year on vocabulary and oracy, oral language, assessments, and being able to use that data to learn about our students and help us determine how they're making progress. All of these things are important. But when you think about our school, I hope you think about our academies and our structure and the environment that we create that transcends difficult lessons or difficult math problems. And I think it's very much about how the teachers are able to connect with your children and connect in ways that show them that they really care about your kids. And when kids feel that way, it creates an environment for them to really learn and to succeed. I could go on and on about about Krista McAuliffe, but I know I'm preaching to the choir, and I hope that our sixth grade families are feeling that and are feeling really good about the kids' experiences, your children's experiences here at our school. And if there's anything that you think that we should be doing to make it better, please let us know, and we'll definitely do that. In terms of how kids get here, honestly, and I've always said this, we're a principal and we're teachers. We'll teach whoever they send us, and we'll do the best we can to help children reach their potential and wherever that potential is. And I'm proud that we have some of our most severely disabled students in our school with pervasive developmental delays and other childhood diseases, autism all across the spectrum, and a new population of general ed ENL students who I feel is really starting to thrive and learn and grow. And I know how difficult that is for ENL students. My first job as a teacher in the Department of Education was as an ENL instructor. We called it ESL back then, almost 30 years ago. But I never forget my roots. So I've got a few things I want to talk about, and I'll try and go through very, very quickly, and then hopefully give you plenty of time for question and answer. I know there are a few questions in the chat, and which we'll get to, but I want to just share a few things with you that are going on at our school. So what can I share with you that's really important going on? We're moving forward with our C30 interviews for assistant principals. We have 2 vacancies, and we have interviews scheduled for December 2nd and December 7th. That committee involves parents, which have been selected through Mr. Labella and the school leadership team. There are teachers who are selected by Mr. File, our chapter leader. There is a district representative who is not selected by us. There is a CSA representative as well. And we'll be moving forward with those, hopefully being able to appoint 2 new assistant principals by the middle of December, and certainly before the holidays. That is our target there. We've got some interesting things going on in the school. We have a lot of technology in the school. We have a lot of computers. Please, anyone, if you need a device, you don't have a device at home, if you know any of our families who don't have a device at home, nobody should be without a device. Let us know. We'll make sure that you get one pronto. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that we have devices that we can give to you from the Department of Education. So let us know if there's anything there that you need. Hopefully your children have talked to you about our flight simulator, well, our new flight simulator. We have about 20 flight simulators, but a new flight simulator, which is actually quite an amazing piece of equipment. You actually go inside it. It's the kind of flight simulator that actual pilots use to train. In fact, you can log actual pilot hours on this device. It is quite a complex piece of equipment, and you've got to see the kids flying this thing. It's pretty amazing, and you might even enjoy it yourself. It's quite fun and quite challenging. Lots of other things going on. The city gave us a lot of money this year. Normally, we have to give money back based on our registers. So, for example, what normally happens is in the springtime, the city projects our budget for next year based on how many students we have. So they might say, okay, Mr. Berman, you're going to have 100 students next year, and we're going to give you $1 million for those 100 students. Whatever it is, $10,000 a student, whatever it is. If we only have 90 students show up, well, we've got to give some of that money back. And we normally account for that every year. And this year, many students did not return for a number of reasons, mostly because they moved. So we lost quite a few students, and we were in a position where we were going to have to give back quite a lot of money, probably about $250,000. But the city came out a couple of weeks ago and said, we do not have to give that money back, and schools are going to get to keep that money this year. So that's real nice. And so what we're thinking and what we're working on right now is a project that we tried to get done last year, but we were unable to get that done for a variety of reasons that went beyond the school and into some of the vendors that we were counting on to get things done. But what we want to do is air condition 2 large spaces in our school. One, the cafeteria, which can be hellacious in the summer when and in the months of May and June and in September, and certainly now that we have summer school options, that has become more and more necessary. And also in our auditorium, which is used as a classroom for our band all the time. It's used for lunch now, every day. And it's used for many events and shows, performances, ceremonies, awards assemblies, and things like that. So that's another area. Right now we have 4 very loud window units in there, which don't do anything. So we're going to be getting rid of those and getting split units. That's the plan. Hopefully it's all going to come to fruition. And we're looking to spend about $350,000 on these large spaces in those areas. The other large expenditure has to do, well, everything kind of has to do with instruction anyway, but this is a problem that we've had and we've been trying to tackle for some time, and it's only been exacerbated, made a lot worse by some of the current conditions in our classrooms. What I'm talking about is students being able to hear the teacher and students being able to hear each other in the classroom. We've spent a lot of time and a lot of money on visual things like, for example, computer screens, computers, active panels or smart boards, whatever you'd like to call them in the classrooms, visual displays. But one of the things that we've not been able to, or we've not addressed, is hearing and being able to hear what's going on in the classroom. Now, the fact that the students are wearing masks is an obvious problem, right, for hearing students. It's very, very hard, very, very hard, especially because there are no facial cues either that we use to help interpret language as well. The other thing is we have air purifiers, air conditioners, and windows open. We have a lot of ventilation in the school that's working, big blower fans and things like that. Our school is on the side of what basically amounts to a highway with trucks and cars and traffic all day long. It's very hard to hear. So what we've been demonstrating at our school is a system by a company that makes a speaker and microphones for the students and the teacher. It's a fairly small speaker. It's about the size of this iPad case. And it can sit just about anywhere in the room. It's light as a feather. It's like a pound, at which, I mean, I'm a little bit of an audiophile, and most of the high quality speaker is pretty heavy. It's got a lot of magnets and stuff in there. This thing's light as a feather, but the audio quality that comes out of it, it is engineered and designed for the human voice, so that without a lot of fanfare, you can hear everything that's going on in the class. And so there are these small microphones, these little pods, these tiny little microphones that are spread out throughout the classroom that the children can pass around as they need. I've seen this in action in the classroom. I can't tell you how happy the kids are to be able to hear each other. It makes such a difference in the class. It really does. And so we're pretty excited about that. I know I am. I hope you can kind of tell I do get excited about things. The teachers who we've allowed to demonstrate this unit, they gave us one for about a month to try out. When they get it, they don't want to let it go. They really love it. And so we're looking to get these systems in all of our classrooms where it'll make a huge difference for being able to hear the kids and be able to hear each other. That's what's really neat about this. It's not just a thing that the teacher can wear and wear a speaker and the kids can hear the teacher, right? What about when the children speak? We want everyone to be heard by everyone in the classroom. It's important. The things that your children are, we want children to know that the things that they're saying are important. And if people can't hear what they're saying, they're not going to get the sense or the feeling that they're important. That's for the speaker side. Of course, it's to the benefit of everyone else to hear what they have to say. So those are some purchasing updates, couple of safety updates. We've now been able to move the classes around so that none of the classes are eating lunch in the classrooms. They're either in the auditorium and the cafeteria, which is really good and very helpful for our school in a lot of ways. The other thing which is great that I'm happy to share with you is that we were able to get a stop sign on the corner of 64th Street and 12th Avenue, so that now there's a four-way stop at that corner. Most people are stopping at it. Might need a little bit of enforcement, but we'll see. But that is a huge improvement to the area that will hopefully help keep our children super safe. Let's see what else. I took a couple of notes as Mr. Labella was talking so that I can kind of follow up on that a little bit. If you're even thinking about volunteering, please do it. It'll be good for you and it'll be good for your children and your family. It's important that students know that you're connected to them and connected to through school. And it can only be a benefit, even though your kids might say, I don't want you there. They really do want you there. They want to know that you care. And it's a great way to show it. Even if it's not even coming to the school, even if they know that you're going to help wrap baskets and take presents and gifts and put them in baskets and wrap them. Even something as simple as that. We need that because many hands what's the expression? Many hands make light work. And when all the kinds of things are on one person or a small group of people, it's just not as good, and it's not as fun either. Please volunteer if you have any inkling at all about doing that. And there are lots of ways you can do it. Talk to Vito, talk to me, or Kim, or anyone on our PTA, or our leadership team. Speaking of leadership team, we will have our student elections coming within the next couple of weeks. For those new families, we allow 3 students to sit on our official school leadership team. They are 8th graders one representative from each academy, and they have real and valuable positions on our school leadership team. They are one of the ways that we communicate the things that that we plan on doing to the student body, and they bring issues to us so that we can help determine if these are things that we're going to be able to do. One of the most significant ones, I think, had to do with our cell phone policy. And they had some issues with, the students had some issues with our cell phone policy, and they brought it to the leadership team students, and the leadership team students brought it to the meeting. And we adjusted the policy based on what the students were saying, where we could, and where it made sense. And so it's very, very important that students have a voice in our school. It's not just talk that students have a voice. It's how we live. And I think it's another thing that makes our school great. So keep an eye out for those leadership elections. You don't get to vote, parents, but your children do. DESA, if you want to opt out, you still can. I know the deadline was yesterday. Please see Palumbo 4. I'm going to put it in the chat for you. See Palumbo 4 at schools.nyc.gov. Send her a message saying, I want to opt my child out. I don't want my child to take the DESA assessment, whatever you want to call it. Opt out my child for the teacher survey DESA assessment, and we will opt you out. I know there was someone wanted, I guess, had notified the teacher and didn't get a response from the teacher. I'm sorry about that. I can investigate that, but please email Carla Palumbo and your child will be opted out. She may not reply to you. She's gotten a lot of responses. So please.
Elections coming up.
I'm sorry. I'll give you some time in just a moment. Just allow me to finish for a moment, please. So yeah, so please send that right over to Mrs. Palumbo. We are still able to opt you out. So I wanted to share that with you. Discord, Mr. Labella mentioned. Well, you know, I don't want to single out any particular platform, but I do want to tell you that one of the things that we've experienced this year is that we've seen some very serious problems and issues that some of our children and some of our families are having. And some of these problems have come to light, fortunately, thank God, because parents have checked their children's online accounts. It would not be an underestimate to say that perhaps we have students who are still alive because of that. It's very important, parents, that you know what's going on in your child's online world, especially your 10, 11-year-old children, but also even your 8th graders, especially. You have to know what's going on. And you have to have access to those accounts. You do. It's a difficult conversation to have with your kids. And it's very much about trust. It's very much about trust. But the bottom line is it's about your child's safety. And if you don't have all of your child's internet accounts and all of your child's passwords, you want to really think about that and think about how you're going to address that. If you're going to address it, far be it for me to tell you how to be a parent. But I can certainly suggest to you that if you don't know what's going on in your child's online world, you're missing some very important things that are going on in your child's life. And I'm not suggesting that everybody has bad things going on. And I think it's important that if and when you do, if you haven't already been engaged in your child's online world, when you do and you go and you're happy about what you see there, boy, lavish that praise on your child and let them know how proud you are of them. And what a great internet citizen they are. But if you're concerned about what you see, right, that's when we'd like you to come to us or wherever you feel comfortable getting help and saying, hey, look, I'm seeing this stuff here. Can you help us out with this? We have a lot of experience with this. But again, if your child has been, and I understand, if your child has been online without any restrictions or any control, any level of control is going to be a difficult conversation with your child. But please have that conversation. And if you're getting a tremendous amount of pushback, I'd be really concerned about that too, and why that's there. And when you do, and if and when you do go on and you're happy with stuff, please let your kids know that you're not there to snoop on them, and you're not going to pry, and stick to that. But that doesn't mean you're not going to spot check them once in a while. And that's your duty and your right as a parent to do that. So whether it's Discord or Facebook or, you know, I know that's old, but whatever it is that kids are using, that your kids are using today, including their email, by the way, you should have these things. God forbid in an emergency. First thing you're going to want to know is, who did your child talk to last? Right. So, and the computer is going to be your way to. And again, if they're using Discord to play and do things, again, praise them for being good online citizens and using the internet in ways that you would expect them to. That positive reinforcement is very, very important. Let them know. But again, also let them know that you're there with them, whether you're looking or not.
Mr. Berman,
Yes.
remember, Mr. Halligan said one of the main things we could do is make sure that your child knows that you have the password for all of their accounts, right? Your phone, they can unlock their phone, they can unlock the computer so that they can go in. That was one of the things that Mr. Halligan stressed. Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, great. So I think I pretty much hit most of, or if not all of my items. We can go back, and I know there were some questions in the chat. We can start with those, and then I'll open it up to any other questions, if that's okay with you, Mr. Labella.
So yeah, we'll do our tag team.
All
I'll
right.
read you the questions and then you can go with it.
Love it. Great. Let's go.
How does our open school work? What happens if we do not get an email from the teacher to sign up?
Okay, then you should definitely be contacting your teacher. You should have received a Google form from your child's teacher, which asks you which class you're in, your name, your child's name. It asks what session you'd like, how you'd like to be contacted, and if you need translation as well. So if you did not get that, please contact your child's teacher, send in a note with your child to school tomorrow, and have your child hand it to your child's homeroom teacher. Give me a call tomorrow and say, hey, Mr. Berman, I didn't get this thing. We'll help our parent coordinator. Anyone who you feel comfortable with will get it to you. But you should have received that in your through your child's homeroom teacher.
Mr. Berman, do you believe that the DESA is going to give our teachers any information that could help them in any way?
I don't think that. Let me say this. I would like to have. I would like to know more than I do now about it.
Okay.
I think that's what I'd like to say about it now. I'd like to be able to be sure about some of the things that you mentioned, and I'm not. But I am also in a different position. I can tell you that, very frankly, I have voiced my displeasure about DESA. But at the same time, this is something that the Department of Education has mandated gets done. And that's where we're at with DESA. As Mr. Labella mentioned, it is in your hands, parents, whether or not you would like that data collected and used about your child. I cannot tell you, the school will not house that data. That data goes to the company. So I cannot say anything about that. I cannot provide any information about that.
Thank you, sir. The
You're welcome.
computers that the kids take home, does it have built-in Wi-Fi, and what are the limitations on it?
They have Wi-Fi, but it doesn't have, it's not a free subscription. They're not like the iPads that the DOE was giving out. They're Chromebooks. So
Okay.
you would need your Wi-Fi service, although there are ways that you can get free Wi-Fi at home through your local cable providers. You can look that up, and based on your income and things like that, there are ways that you can get that internet at home. So, but they come with Wi-Fi, but you need a service to provide that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Citra, what do you mean by accepting any more responses? What are you speaking about in particular? Is a Google form for something, Mr. Berman?
That would be for the parent-teacher conferences.
Okay,
Yes, Mr. Vito. Some of the Google forms say that there are no more, they're not accepting any more responses for the parent-teacher conferences. Probably that was what the Citra was asking.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure, but if you could not put in a response, you should email your child's teacher.
and they can meet with the teachers. What are the days of the week that they could meet, the office hours? That's every Thursday?
Honestly, parents, my teachers will meet with you when it's convenient for you. They're there every day from 2:20 to 2:50. There's a half an hour. We have things scheduled for them, like filling out the DESA for your children. That's when I'm not going to take instructional time to do that. And we have other things that the teachers are doing during that time, but that's on hold now. But I will tell you, the teachers will meet with you. They will talk with you, whether it's on Zoom, phone, email. any day of the week between 2:20 and 2:50. If they have a meeting that they're in, I will free them up. They will whatever they're doing, they'll be able to speak with you. So if parent-teacher conferences 12:20 to 2:20 and in the afternoon doesn't work, there are lots and lots of other times. And I would hope parents, please, if you're having any issues that you haven't waited for parent-teacher conferences to roll around to address them, please address things right away as soon as you're feeling that there's an issue or a concern. Parent-teacher conferences, it's not the greatest time to deal with issues regarding your child. The teachers are pressed for time. There are many people who teachers are trying to get through and talk with. It's not the most productive time for a teacher to speak with you about significant issues that your child may be having. It's a great time if you're a parent and you want to hear how great your child is doing, and you should hear that. I encourage you to do that. Your child has a 98 average on their report card. Please go and hear from the teachers how great your kid is and they're doing really well. You deserve to hear that. It's great. And you deserve to feel good about that. But don't expect the teachers to spend too much time with you, but they'll let you know how great your children are doing. That's a really great use of parent and teacher conference time. It's nice, it's short, it's quick, and you can get some great feedback and feel good about you and your kids. If you need to talk about serious issues, I would strongly advise you to make an appointment with your child's teacher and talk about it so the teacher can set aside a significant amount of time to really give you their undivided attention. And that's, I think, will be the best way to address it for your child.
Mr. Berman, so what are we talking about here? Hold on. So I forgot, is it the third period teacher that does the DESA?
That's what they're suggesting.
Okay.
I don't know that we're going to keep it that way. We may, because that's just the default. And I really, probably the third period teacher, yes.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And yes, so we have an iPhone question, and yes, Mr. Berman announced very exciting project. He's trying to get air conditioning for the auditorium and the cafeteria. Very excited. We've tried to do it for years, and you know, as a way to spend money that we don't know how long is going to be there, that's a perfect way to spend this largesse, right? The feds are giving us money. We could get this done, and this is something that I advocated for. Mr. Berman loved the idea. He wanted to do it for years as well. And this is something that's going to outlast all of us. We'll all be in our retirement homes, and our kids will have air conditioners in the cafeteria and the auditorium. It's very exciting. I want to thank Mr. Berman for making it happen.
Yeah, I mean, this is a windfall that we're not going to experience for a long time, I would predict in the future. We're not going to have this kind of money. Someone's going to have to pay for all this stuff at some point. But I don't foresee that. So I do think it's important to invest in things that are going to carry us beyond just this year. Computers we don't need any more of right now. But I think the air conditioning is a project that will have a lasting impact. And I think the audio project is something that will also have a lasting impact for years to come. And will have a significant impact on the experiences of your children at our school. And I think that's a really important way to look at how we're spending money. How is the money we're spending going to have an impact positively on the children in our school? And I think we do that really well.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Berman, do you know when the high school stuff opens and closes, or they haven't put it out yet?
I don't know.
Yeah, they haven't put it out yet, right?
Again, I wasn't kidding before when
I know.
I told you the email that came out there was an email that was sent to me yesterday, and it says more updates are coming soon. The timeline and the details for the high school application, the way to apply, when and how to register. I'm sorry. I can only apologize to
Yeah.
parents, and I know this is an incredibly stressful time for you as you're thinking about your 8th grader and you're thinking about possible high school choices. This process could not be made more difficult for you, and I'm sorry about that. And I wish it could be better. Having information would be a great start.
Yes, that's just the way it is. It doesn't help that there's a transition between administrations. It just makes it worse. Mr. Kwok wants to know, I'm guessing he's talking about seeing the kids' grades prior to the cutoff, so he knows where the kids stand.
Which grades?
I think the grades, the report card grades, I believe.
Parents see all grades at least 2 days before. What do you mean by cutoff?
I'm
what
guessing the
cutoff?
end of the marking period. Kenny, can you clarify?
I suspect he's not talking about report card grades.
Okay,
Report card grades we could always discuss. I mean, there's no cutoff for that. Oh, report card. So are you asking to see the report card grades before they're on the report card? Yes, you can see the report card grades pretty much anytime you want. Look on Pupil Path. That should be a fairly accurate representation, although it's never 100% accurate. But if you have any issues with the grades on the report, you will not have the report card before parent-teacher conferences. Report cards won't come out for another few weeks. It's just the way they schedule it. Teachers put extra exams. They're not extra exams. They are exams, but they're not extra.
so we're looking for after-school programs. NIA, are we expanding for 6th graders?
We can only expand when they allow us to adjust the distance requirements. That's our major issue. We wish we could accommodate all of the students that want to be in our after-school program. We're trying really hard, but it's these distancing requirements that are problematic for us.
Great. Anybody else out there? Thank you for your attention. Thank you for staying on with us, 81 of you.
One more last question, Mr. Berman.
Yes.
What's the name of the speakers you mentioned, or was it the microphone and the speaker?
Do you work in another school?
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay.
He's got to make sure that he's got his stash.
First.
They're already about 60 days out on order.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you as soon as I get my order in.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's the most honest thing I've ever heard a DOE employee say.
I'm serious though. The supply chain
Thank you,
is
though.
terrible.
Thank you. I understand. I understand.
You know, and believe me,
understand
I love to share. I want to tell my assistant, I want to tell my principal friends, because they have a lot of money too. And I am going to tell them. I'm going to tell them they should get this stuff. I don't care. I'm not that kind of guy, principal who is like, oh, I want this from high school. I want every kid to benefit. I think every classroom should have these things. And I'll tell them about it too, but after we get ours. So, yeah.
Anybody else out there?
Hi, Mr. Bertman. I'm wondering, you have the flight simulators. You have 20 of them. Is it only certain academy have access, or the whole school have access? How does people from other school academy have access to those?
They do, mostly in the 7th and the 8th grade, when they have technology with Mr. Domino. 6th graders have technology with Mrs. McGarity. They work on other things like robotics. Hopefully they've been talking to you about some of those things. During the pandemic, we bought a lot of robotics equipment for Mrs. McGarity's lab. She does a lot of coding with them and things like that. Mr. Domino does the flight and the aeronautics with the kids. He also does 3D printing with them. He does graphic design and some other technology related things. So other children from other academies do get to go to use the flight simulator as well, but they are limited. He doesn't have every class. So, you know, that program is limited to the classes that he does have, but they do span the different academies.
Mr. Berman, since all of the kids are taking the SHSAT in their at the school, are we still getting tickets, or just is everybody?
I believe there will be tickets.
Okay. So there people are worried they haven't gotten them. When should they expect them?
Soon. Again, I wish I could be more clear. But I will tell you, don't worry, we are planning for the administration at our school. It's a huge endeavor that they're putting on the shoulders of the schools. They really are. And it's going to impact instruction for the whole day, for the whole school, unfortunately. But that's the way they want us to do it.
The ticket will be in your school account. Oh, okay. Thank you, Zoom user.
I don't know that, but perhaps. But I assure you, wherever those tickets are, if they are, you will have one if you need one.
Thank you, sir.
I will personally make sure that if your child needs to take the SHSAT, that they are there, whether they have a ticket or not. So don't worry.
Thank you so much, Nisa. Appreciate the positive feedback.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, so the official meeting, it's 8:43. Let me ask for a motion to adjourn. Somebody help me out.
I second that motion.
Thank you, Doc. Okay, so listen, so 8:43, you got the minutes. So hopefully we're gonna get them translated in all different languages next month and send them out ahead of time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Berman. Thank you to the executive board. Everyone, get home safe. Drive safely. Take care.
Thank you, Mr. Labella.